What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today I am pleased to present to you a unique and absurdly powerful Warlock build that just keeps getting stronger. Season of the Wish has introduced several changes, exotic reworks, sandbox adjustments, and a new seasonal artifact that is heavily focused towards solar abilities. This has drawn many Warlocks into running the Sunbracers or the Dawn Chorus. And while I'm not here to sway you out of using those exotics, I am here to bring your attention to another Warlock exotic, one that creates a very unique build, which synergizes exceptionally well with this season's artifact. We are referring to the Rain of Fire exotic boots. This exotic comes with the Soaring Fusilier intrinsic trait. This grants radiance when defeating enemies with any fusion or any linear fusion rifle, giving you a 20% increase to all weapon damage. These weapons will receive a 30-point increase to their airborne efficiency, and when you perform a mid-air dodge, such as the Icarus Dash, all of your equipped weapons will get automatically reloaded. This exotic completely streamlines gunplay, as you'll have high-powered weapons that are getting buffed constantly with radiance and automatically reloaded with dodges. The perfect exotic for optimal DPS. Now, this exotic also works with the Strand Weavewalker, which makes for some very interesting gameplay itself. But today's build is oriented around its solar functionality. While the Rain of Fire didn't get any updates of its own, another exotic that we're using with this build did. The Vex Mythoclast saw a 20% increase to its damage against PvE and champion combatants, which has really made this exotic a prime candidate to use this season. To those, of course, who have had the fortune of getting it to drop. Personally, I had to run the Vault of Glass 64 times before getting it to drop. The Vex Mythoclast is a fusion rifle that uses primary ammo, causing this weapon to behave more like a 360 RPM auto rifle that has an alternate sniper mode. The Mythoclast and other solar weapons will greatly benefit from several of the new artifact mods this season, which is going to streamline the gunplay capabilities of this build exponentially. To start with, we have Kindling Trigger, which is going to give the Vex Mythoclast and any other solar weapon a major bonus in damage, as they will apply Scorch to unscorched enemies. We also have Flint Striker, which grants radiance after solar weapon final blows, but we are getting that already, so we can honestly just not use this mod when running Rain of Fire. But since we are including Strand weapons into this build, we are utilizing Torch, which will give us bonus damage against enemies who are debuffed by Strand or Stasis effects. And we're also using Dragon's Bite, so that when we break an opponent's shield with a Strand or Stasis weapon, they have a chance of becoming suspended or frozen, which would in turn trigger the damage bonus provided by Torch. Rays of Precision will be just as crucial to use as Kindling Trigger, as it will cause solar precision final blows to create ignitions when we are radiant. With the dead shot aiming that the Vex provides, this will be a mod that gets triggered a lot, and since ignitions stun unstoppable champions, this will give us the ability to stun barrier and unstoppable champions this season. When champions are in the mix, we are using Revitalizing Blast, so that champions become weakened after getting hit with any solar ability. This will further improve the Vex's ability to melt these champions. When we are in a solo activity, Solo Operative will be imperative, as it provides a 15% increase to all damage sources. But when we are in a team, it's going to be Heart of the Flame that we need to use. In activities that feature champions like Lost Sectors, Nightfalls, and Grandmasters, the Vex Mythoclast is going to be a great choice this season, with or without the Rain of Fire. But it's not the only fusion rifle that's performing well, and it's not the only fusion rifle that we're using with this build. The Scatter Signal is a new Strand kinetic fusion rifle that can drop with some really interesting combinations, like Overflow with Controlled Burst, which can make this a perfect secondary DPS option. And in our choice of heavy, we're using the Cataclysmic Linear Fusion Rifle, which will serve as our primary DPS weapon. But there's also the Briar's Contempt that would make for a great option as well. The Doomed Petitioner is a new heavy fusion rifle this season that can drop with permeability, which causes class ability activation to change this weapon's energy type. This could make for some great synergy with this build in activities that call for solar and void damages. Running a Rain of Fire build is much different than running Sunbracers or many other solar exotics, which primarily focus around your abilities. Because of this, we will need to make some special modifications to our solar fragments and aspects. The most obvious is that we need to equip Icarus Dash. Not only is this going to provide us with automatic reloading of all equipped weapons, but it's going to provide us with a significant advantage in combat with the added mobility. Icarus Dash can be activated every 4 seconds, but when Heat Rises is active, 2 dashes can be performed every 5 seconds. Icarus Dash provides an additional passive benefit whenever airborne. Any solar ability or weapon final blow will provide 1 stack of cure, giving us 30 points of health recovery. We're also using Heat Rises along with Phoenix Dive. This way, when Heat Rises is active, our Phoenix Dive will grant 2 stacks of cure to both us and nearby allies, and it will also apply damage and scorch to enemies. Activating Heat Rises will consume a grenade, but it will also provide us with a burst of healing. And while Heat Rises is active, any airborne final blows are going to grant significant levels of melee energy, allowing us to spam our Incendiary Snap much more often, inflicting more scorch onto enemies, and allowing us to maintain that radiance. When it comes to fragments, we're using Ember of Torches, so that striking enemies with charged melees will grant us radiance. We're already getting radiance after fusion rifle kills, but this will give us the ability to have radiance before even getting a kill. We're using Ember of Tempering so that final blows with any solar weapons create fire sprays and will grant us as much as 30 points of bonus recovery. By using Ember of Mercy, those fire sprites, which can be generated every 10 seconds, will grant restoration, giving us another 35 points of health every second. Since we're also using Ember of Empyrean, solar final blows of any kind will extend the duration of both radiance and restoration by an additional 4 seconds. So between our choice in fragments and aspects, we should be able to effectively maintain radiance and restoration indefinitely, while also having several sources of cure and restoration, which is going to provide us with superior levels of survivability, while also giving us the power to melt everything that we come up against. When it comes to our choice in armor and armor mods, resilience and recovery are the main 2 character stats to focus on. Resilience will reduce incoming damage, and recovery will get our Phoenix Dive and our health back faster. Since we are using Ember of Torches and our melees are going to cause radiance, I would recommend focusing on strength before discipline. In terms of armor mods, our main goal is to amplify the power of our weapons, so we're using Siphon and heavy-handed mods to create orbs, which will give us armor charges. The Charged Up Chest mod will give us more armor charges to be consumed, and with the use of Solar and Strand Surge mods, we can increase our damage output by another 10 to 17%. Time dilation on our class item will help extend the duration of these armor charges so that we can maintain that increased damage for longer. Using ammo finders on our helmets will definitely be needed this season, since we don't have any extra ways of creating ammo like we did last season. Outside of the aforementioned mods, we're using mods that are going to improve the regeneration of our abilities, like Focusing Strike, so that we gain extra class ability when striking enemies with a melee, and Distribution on our class item, so that we gain a small amount of energy to all of our abilities when we perform our Phoenix Dive near enemies. And lastly, we're using a Recuperation mod on our boots, so that when we pick up those orbs, we'll get an instant surge of health recovery, adding to what Cure and Restoration is already providing us. With the combination of Rain of Fire and the Vex Mythoclast, along with several other top-tier fusion rifles, this build is going to absolutely wreck any and everything. Even from 10 to 20 levels under, this build still melts champions like butter. So if you haven't given this amazing build a try yet this season, then you should definitely do so now, before the time comes that Bungie says no more. With that being said, I wish you all the best of luck throughout this season. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite builds have been so far. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. If you're a new Light Guardian, just starting your journey, or a battle-hardened veteran, just looking for a new home, then be sure to check out the Discord link in the description below and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy holidays and some happy hunting.